Hello and welcome to another Bionicle review. Today we're looking at set 8549, the Tarakava. This is one of the earliest Bionicle sets released, appearing on shelves back in 2001 during the very first year of the line. The set features two large creatures, or Rahi in Bionicle terms, which both appear to be based on some species of giant serpent. Originally retailing at $50, this set was positioned roughly in the middle of the other 2001 Bionicle offerings, nestled snugly between the Nui Rama and Nui Jaga on the cheaper end, and Muwaka and Kani Ra and the Manas on the higher end. And like the other 2001 Rahi, the set includes not one but two models, bundled together in the same box, with the idea being that they can fight against each other or hunt in packs. The Tarakava, along with most of the other Rahi, are the closest thing to villains that we got in the first year of Bionicle. The Borok didn't come out until 2002, and even though Makuta's shadow loomed over the island of Matanui right from the start, we had to wait until 2003 before he was released in plastic form. In the storyline, these guys pose a constant threat to our heroes, not just the Toa, but the Matoran villagers too. They're ambush predators, and their favourite strategy is to lurk in shallow water or sand, waiting for prey to come near. As a result, two of the Matoran villagers are particularly vulnerable to these things, the coastal village of Garkoro, which is built over water, and the desert village of Pokoro, where there's plenty of sand for Tarakava to hide in. Anyway, on with the review. The set comes in a reasonably sized box, with the Tarakava on the front, along with the Bionicle logo, and LEGO Technic branding. Technic branding would be phased out from 2002 onwards, so you'll only find it on these early 2001 sets. Around the back, some information about the set, including the action feature and the combiner model, which we'll look at later on. And inside the box you get 401 parts, including many in teal, or dark turquoise as it's sometimes known. This colour was actually discontinued in 2005, just a few years after this set came out, and although it's recently been reintroduced to the LEGO palette, it remains a very uncommon colour. There are 23 teal bits in all, and as a result of the colour's scarcity, a good number of the pieces were, and still are, exclusive to this set. Like these bits, which you get two each of, and also these fairings and wheels. A few of the blue bits are exclusive too, but the spread isn't quite as exciting as with the teal. You won't find these blue suspension pieces anywhere else, or the wheels. For the masks, you get a teal Kakama and a blue Pakari. The Pakari also came in the mask packs, so it's not super exciting here, but the teal Kakama only appeared in this set. And it's one of only two masks ever to use this colour, the other being Kongu's Miru. Oh, and you get two of these treads as well. So, first up, the teal Tarakava. Both this one and the blue one are pretty much identical in terms of the core build, with slender, serpentine bodies, long arms, and caterpillar tracks for movement. But there's still a considerable amount of variation in the detailing of the two, which is something quite unusual for Rahi. The Nui Rama, for instance, only had a single piece difference between them, and the Nui Jaga were completely identical. But we'll take a look at those differences shortly. Up close you can see how the head is built with the eyes on top. The design is perfect for an ambush predator like the Tarakava, allowing them to hide in sand or water with only their eyes showing, waiting to attack. There's a mask on the nose, a Kakama in this case, and the teeth can be wiggled a bit. The nose section folds forwards too, to give better access to the mask. The body is built a bit like a joystick, so it's super easy to grip during play. And there's some suspension in the base. The caterpillar track is integrated nicely. It's the same one used on the Manas, but it's larger than the one used by Muwaka and Kani Ra. The single track doesn't offer much stability, but luckily there's a kickstand around the back to help the model stand up on display. And then of course we come to the action feature. You pull on either of those yellow levers and one of the arms will shoot forwards to deliver a deadly punch. It's a really fun gimmick to play with, and it's great that you can move the arms independently for a left or right hook. Next up, the blue Tarakava. The core of the build remains the same, but it's cleverly disguised with a lot of variety in the detailing. The head is built differently, with a whole different structure that focuses on using Galli's hooks for the jaw instead of Onua's claw. The body is built just the same, although the blue works nicely with the black, and the arm mechanism isn't any different here. But the shoulder armour has been switched up, and the armour on the treads has been changed around too. In fact, side by side, you can see just how different the two models are. The heads with their different nose masks, shoulders, and bases. Anyway, I think it's time to have a look at that action feature in, action. Like the other Rahi, the Tarakava were sold in pairs so that you could battle with friends, either stinging, lashing, or otherwise mauling your opponent. And that's where the Tarakava's fists come into play. Give your friend one of the carvers to hold, take aim, and get swinging. You'll need one good whack to lower the head, and another to pop the mask off. Or you can start with the head in a downwards position for a quicker fight, which is what the instructions suggest. But before you go picking fights with your friends, just between you and me, make sure you use the teal one. Those cosmetic changes aren't quite as cosmetic as the design's intended, and those teeth give the teal one a bit of added bite. And, what's that, Jimmy? You don't have any friends? Well, luckily for you, the Tarakava work just as well with your Toa. By default, they aim their punches a little bit too high, but thanks to that suspension, there's enough forward movement for a headshot. The much shorter Matoran, however, are well outside the Tarakava's range, and they don't have anything to fear from these big lizards. Well, except being run over, maybe. Anywho, there's also a combiner model for this set, so what are you waiting for? Dismantle your Tarakavas and crack out the instructions, because you too can be the proud owner of this thing. It's called a Tarakava Nui, and it's basically a bigger but less appealing version of the two smaller Tarakava. It's got a weird unsettling face, very spindly body, and two sets of treads, which offer a bit more stability but don't have any symmetry in terms of the colour. The punching mechanism's still in there, although it's now a single big trigger on the front instead of two around the back. And the arms work differently too. Aside from the obvious sideways repositioning, they're both connected to that one single trigger, meaning they can't move independently. So it's a weird design with an awkward gimmick, but its size is good, right? Well, not really. Unfortunately, it's now so tall that it towers over the Toa. Even with that suspension, it still can't lean far forwards enough to deliver a fatal headshot. You have to tip the model well off balance to get near, and even then, there's still enough of a gap between the two arms that it's difficult to hit anything. So, battling the Toa is out, but at least it can still fight other Tarakava, right? Well, no. It's still too tall even for that. Honestly, it seems like this thing is too big to fight anything except the Great Spirit robot itself. So what exactly is the Tarakava Nui good for? Well, there is one thing. So next time you go clubbing, make sure you bring this guy, because he's going to kill it on the dance floor. Ooh. So that's just about it for this review, but as has become tradition, we'll finish off with a couple of fun variations. Most of the blue and teal parts are difficult to find in other colours, but they do all exist in yellow, so it's possible to make a completely yellow Tarakava. And I quite like this version. All the yellow and black makes it look a bit like a wasp or a hornet. The yellow Ruru mask used here isn't widely available, so if you're building your own you might want to switch that out. And unfortunately the Toa piece doesn't exist in yellow either, so the yellow Tarakava's design ends up being kind of a hybrid of the two, with the blue Kava's shoulder armour, the standard body design, and the teal Kava's tread casing. And speaking of yellow, there's also the legendary prototype Sand Tarakava, the reference model used for the unreleased Legend of Matanui game. But that's a story for another video. Anyway, there you have it, a quick review of the Tarakava. Thanks for watching, and as always, I love hearing your own Bionicle thoughts and stories, so drop a comment, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and maybe even subscribe to the channel for more Bionicle content. Ta-ta!